You are welcome to the Right Value Studio. This is Compatriots Family and Community Life Reorientation, the program that is aimed at rebuilding the broken walls of values in families and communities. My name is DJ Modi, and in the studio with me today is Mr. Dandy Elebila. You're welcome, sir.
Good day, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Dandy.
Good day, viewers.
Thank you. Mr. Dandy is the operations officer of the Loyal Magnificent Compatriot Club of Nigeria and my co-presenter in this program. Thank you for hooking up together with us this afternoon. Our focus for today is still on effective parenting, and our topic is effective parenting, finding a balance between the traditional and modern parenting approaches. Effective parenting, finding a balance between the traditional and modern parenting approaches. As we have said, even in our previous episode, that our objective for this discussion is not to actually make our viewers prefer one style of parenting over the other, but to help find a balance between the two parenting approaches, which is the traditional and the modern parenting approaches, such that is beneficial to our families and communities. So, in the last episode, we had a fruitful discussion on this topic. And today we are proceeding from where we stopped last time. And at the course of this discussion, we expect our viewers to send in their opinions regarding this discussion, regarding this conversation, so that we're going to feature their opinions right here to benefit someone out there. And we're going to start right away. From our last discussion, it has been confirmed that civilization has put a lot of pressure on everybody to do things differently, including parenting. And we have discovered that many parents are confused whether to still uphold the traditional parenting approach or give it away for the modern parenting approach. And we're going to just look at this before we move further. Sir, like we have discussed concerning this issue of, we have seen that in our society today, we can find parents that because they want to do things differently, they want to go with the trend, they want to, they want to portray to the society that they are civilized. They completely go with the modern approaches, the modern style of parenting. And completely, they see everything about the traditional.
Deviated from the traditional standard.
The traditional standard. To them, everything about the traditional is It's gone. It's an old school. It's an old school, and we shouldn't go there again. But just like you have said, I want you to shed more light on that issue again, on the need. Because we're trying to just highlight, for instance, we have said, a modern parent, someone who has made up his mind that I want to just use the modern approach because we are in the 21st century. What do you expect? What kind of style of parenting do we expect from such parents?
My opinion.
Yes, sir.
My opinion, actually, like you have said, rightly said initially.
Yes, sir.
That we are not trying to make parents. We are not actually trying to make us beginning to prefer one parenting approach over the other.
Yes, sir.
But we are looking at the way we can be able to create a balance, trying to find a balance between trying to adopt the options, the elements in the traditional approach that are good, and marry them with the parts of the modern approach that are also good, in order to be able to move our family to the next level.
Yes, sir.
Now, having said that, I think if we are looking at civilization,
yes, sir.
Yes, it is good to be civilized. It is good to be educated.
Yeah.
But there is something my dad used to say in those days. Most especially anytime we have the opportunity of stepping out of the house.
Yes.
Maybe you are traveling, maybe to the next, even if it is the next town or the next village.
Yes, sir.
Anything that will be taking you out of the house. There's this thing my dad always tell us. He will always say, please remember whose son you are, and remember the home you came from. You are coming out from. So, and that will continue to ring in your head. There are certain things you will not want to do, because you will not want to bring shame to your family name. So what am I trying to say in essence? It is good to be civilized. But no matter how civilized we think we are, we cannot completely throw away our traditions.
Good.
We cannot. If we try to throw away our traditions because of civilization, I think we will have serious issue. In fact, that is some of the issues we are faced with now. There are certain things that we are trained to be.
Yes.
There are certain way we are trained to behave, either out at home or outside. There are certain ways we are being brought up.
Yes.
But these days, civilization has tended to take those values away from us. Now, let me take for instance.
Yes, sir.
Let's just take for example dress code as an example. You discover that these days our dressings no longer make sense, both on the male side and even on the female side. Our dressing these days no longer makes sense. I could remember in those days you dare not do such. You can't just dress anyhow, and it's not possible.
That is it.
But these days, it's not as if we don't have parents around. Yes, we have parents around, but our parents have decided to neglect our culture and our tradition. That, sir, you have to respect even yourself.
That is it.
When we talk about respect, you have to respect yourself first.
That's the truth.
If you cannot respect yourself, it will be difficult for you to even respect others.
That is correct.
So, and how can you respect yourself? You respect yourself by moderating what you do, what you say, what you wear, what you eat.
That is it.
Everything about you as a person must be put to check, under check. Those are the ways we are brought up. You don't just talk anyhow.
That is it.
You don't dress anyhow. You don't even eat anyhow. Everything because you know there's somebody that is watching.
That is it.
There is a parent that won't take some certain things. So those things keep us in check. But these days, civilization seems to have taken all those away. And you will see today, a mother or a father will go to the market by themselves and will now go and buy leggings for their daughters.
Yes.
A father will buy trousers for his son, and in the next 1 or 2 days, the trouser you use your money and buy for your child, he will now carry razor blade and now beginning to tear it, and he will now wear it and follow you to church, and you are okay with that. Civilization, when you will now say others are doing it, and I keep asking, sir, if the whole world is doing one certain thing, does it mean that it is right? That the whole world, that each and every one of us is indulged in one particular act, doesn't make it right.
That is it.
Because everybody is doing it doesn't mean you should do it.
That is it.
Does that conform with your traditions and cultures? When we talked about Christianity or Islam, every moral values taught from either of these religions still has the backing from our tradition. Their origin is traceable to our traditions, our origin.
None of this religion contradict.
It doesn't contradict the Bible. It doesn't contradict each other.
Enforcing it.
No, civilization has come. Instead of us to start looking at a way we can use the civilization, the technology to better our tradition, we have decided. I'm pointing this to all our parents. We have decided to neglect our tradition and embrace other people's tradition. What our fathers and our forefathers has laid down for us, we have neglected them, and no wonder we are the way we are.
Now, that is actually talking about you are X-raying the traditional and the modern parenting approaches to us already. You know, we are talking about the side of dressing. I was discussing with a woman yesterday. She said one of her friends went and bought some dresses for her daughter, a grown-up daughter. Said right from when the daughter was still a baby, a child, come to a certain knowledge of the said she will buy certain dress for her, the girl will not wear. She used to now call, say, this my girl, she's too natural. She's an old school. She doesn't need, she's an old school. So that's why I stopped buying those clothes for her. That I don't use my money to buy those clothes for her. I say, you see,
So let me tell you something. We're not trying to deviate. We are still very on point based on what we're discussing. We're looking at effective parenting. It will be so ungodly that we as parents, we see our children deviating and we keep quiet about it. It will be so ungodly. I don't think God will be happy with us with such habit. Now, while I was growing up, I was living with my elder sister. But she has left home long before. She has left home for the city while I was still very tender. So, but they used to come visit home, and at a point when I was grown up, I had to live with her somewhere in Kwara State. I happened to live with her in Jeba when she was there after my secondary education, and I now discovered that there are certain things that have changed about her. One of which is putting on trousers.
Yeah.
And I've discovered that my sister no longer even has skirt. All she has, if she dresses up, very beautiful lady. Or if she dresses up, all you see is straight trousers with look smart. But on the other hand, I will now ask myself, I say, will our parent accept this? If our parent happens to be here, will they accept this? And I will call my sister. She's my elderly sister. In fact, I'm not even the next. She's like the second born. Why? As at then, I was the last born, or second to the last born. So the gap was massive. But I will, because of how we were being brought up, I will tell her, say, Auntie, this is not normal. This is not fine. Of course, I know if our parents were to be here, I don't think they can accept this. And you know, because I keep talking about it, she decided to cut down on all those things. Started to start buying skirts and was dressing like a normal woman being, a normal woman. And I was happy. Why was all that? Because we had a standard we were brought up with. We know, as at then, I know my parents wouldn't have accepted that. But these days, it is we parents that we even take our money and bought all those immoral stuff, even for our children, which is not normal. And that is why everything keep turning upside down. Gradually. The one you bought, in fact, by the time she will want to buy, or he will want to buy for himself, it will be worse. I can't imagine. I told my wife, until my daughter grow up and get married or leave home, please, I don't want to see any form of attachment attached to her hair. I want her to be as natural as she can be.
I love that.
And please, I don't want trousers. I'm not saying wearing trousers is not good. I'm not saying it's an evil. But because of the way I was being brought up, I also want to bring my children up in that pattern, in that way. Because for me, it is godly, more respectful, and more appreciated. Because as a woman, see, I want to believe that when you move out and you go into the street and you see people, you will appreciate some category of people over some other. I can't imagine if I move out and I see any lady dressed in all these their hot cake, this kind of their modern modern dresses. There are things that goes on in my mind. But when I see a lady that is well dressed, well covered, I appreciated them more. And because we celebrate some of these things, go to parties, go to occasions. If you have not dressed so ungodly, you have not arrived. It's until all your bobs, all your breast is outside, until one part of your body is exposed. That is when you attempt to be civilized. That is I think that should be looked into.
So we are still talking about,
and we have parents around.
Yes. And looking at another angle of the modern parenting, which we actually encourage freedom. That, just like last week we said, a modern parent is likely to give more freedom to his children, give them more freedom to make decisions on their own, give them more freedom to take decision and for themselves. And we also discover that the challenge with this is because freedom is good.
Yeah.
Like we have said here last time, we discover that it is good to give your children freedom to take decision, but it should be freedom with limit. Freedom with limit. And we are actually looking at, just like you are describing the traditional aspect of traditional values that we have actually neglected in aspect of parenting. For instance, we said here last week when we were introducing this topic that traditional parenting encourages, promotes traditional values,
Yeah.
such as obedience.
And
Obedience to rule of law.
And when you talk about still on obedience,
Yes, sir.
Obedience also entails strict adherence to instructions.
That is the truth.
Strict adherence to instructions. Parental instructions. Your parent will tell you that you dare not touch what does not belong to you. So that will continue to ring in your head, because you know you have to adhere to these rules.
That is it.
I was saying the other time, because I took what does not belong to me.
Yes.
Because I took I took one leg of rubber slippers that is already damaged.
Yes.
When I was packing some waste,
Yes.
I found one leg of a rubber slippers that was already damaged, one leg, and I picked it. But because it doesn't belong to me, it cost me an experience I will never ever forget in my life. That I used to tell my children. So that has built in us that you dare not take what does not belong to you. If our leaders today, have not deviated from this value,
yes, sir,
I don't think what the story we are having today, that one senator will embezzle all that he can. We will not find that in our story. It's just because we have deviated. And this is what is very common among all families back then. But now, you will take your child to church, and by the time church close, an item that you know that you have never bought for your child, something that you know that you had no idea about, you are coming back from church, and your child is holding something that does not belong to him, and that is fine by you. Your child will go out and come home with some items, and you bother less, you care less. They are enjoying is their time. You know that as a father or as a mother, you did not buy this for this child.
And you will see
and you know that this child
cannot afford
to
buy this. Yet you keep mute. These are the reasons why we are addressing this, because we are where we are today because of the negligence of these values.
That's true.
We failed in our role as parents to raise children that will uphold these values. For instance, we are still talking about the traditional parenting also encourage discipline, strict adherence to discipline. And then not just upholding the value, promoting value, moral values, not just moral, even hard work, the values of hard work and every other good thing. These days, just like you are saying, if you find a parent who is still upholding the traditional values, you won't see his child bring home something
and don't complain.
He knew that even if you are working, the father will ask you, how much is your salary?
Yeah.
That you could afford this thing now.
A child, they have trained you, you have finished school,
Yeah.
but you have not
You
gotten
have
a
not
job.
gotten a job. A
But you
paying
leave
job.
home, and when you come, you bought goodies and bring home, and you are celebrated for it. The parent doesn't mind to even ask, how come about this?
Yes.
Where does this come from? A child doesn't have work, and one day he will just come home and you see him with a laptop.
Yes.
And you just behave as if all is well. We need to start asking questions.
That is it.
We need to check our child. We need to check our children at all time. We must let them know that eyes are on you.
Yes.
There are certain things you must not do, even though you enjoy all the freedom.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that must be put on check. If not, every child has a probability of deviating.
That's what you see. What makes, last time we said something, I remember in one of our episodes, we said that the reason why the Bible said foolishness lies in the heart of every child. And he said it's only the road of what? Discipline that will bring it out, will take it away. So don't think, we are not disagreeing with the modern parenting approach, the aspect that emphasizes that we should actually allow our children, give them freedom to decide for themselves, make decisions,
to think for themselves.
Sir, it's good to allow that boy, that girl, to think for herself or himself. But you also ought to realize that he is a child. It's not on everything. Last week you make emphasis on that area. It's not you see, a child, still a child. It's not, will always be a child. So don't expect your child, a child sometimes it's like a robot or just like a computer that last time you were telling us. If you ask, you can continue to press certain instructions and ask computer to destroy itself, and it can go ahead and destroy itself. A child can take a self-destructive decision, not knowing, unknowingly, thinking he or she is taking the best decision. So it is your duty as a parent to ensure that that child is guarded. Now, it was also established in our last discussion that most parents concern themselves only with raising children who are competent to succeed in life. As such, they work hard to provide their children with so-called good education and other good things of life without necessarily bothered about their character building. I can tell you, one of the basic challenges we have these days is that most parents can afford to send their children to the best schools. They can afford to send their children to the best school, cater for every good thing, every need of their child. But they neglect the fact that you need to also ensure that this child is also well guarded morally. We're asking, we say that of what benefit will it be to have a society full of competent people, skillful people, without character? You know, as we said last time, while we see a lot of our society today is full of skillful people, competent people that can do anything, yet most of them uses these skills to kill, to steal, and to destroy, simply because they lack morals. We lack morals. You see, what we are trying to say, we are trying to do, is to ensure that we raise a total child. A total child.
Total child, a healthy society.
A total child and a healthy society. Once you have a total, a complete citizens that are not lacking in any way, you are going to have a very healthy society.
That's true.
So, we want to let you know as parents, it is not enough to pay the school fees of that child. It's not enough to ensure that that child have all the good food to eat. We also want you to know that beyond this, you must ensure that they are well taken care of morally. When it comes to value reorientation, we want you to know that it is your duty to train them morally.
Okay, quickly
Yes,
before we go forward, let me somebody sent in a message via Facebook. Let me just read out this person's comment quickly, and I want to enjoy every of our viewers. You can send in your opinion regarding the topic of discussion. We are talking about our society, our community, our nation, our children, and our parents. All our topics, our discussion evolve around all this. And Mr. A username Femi Femu sent in a comment, and he says, the way we are being brought up in those days can never be overemphasized or compared. I remember vividly every single sign my mother will demonstrate to me when I followed her for any visitor house or any visitor's house. Any visitor's house. Is by looking, by cleaning off her throat, or by matching me just to communicate with me. All these things we understand, but in the generations of today, nothing like such again. Keep on the good work, sir, and let's focus for solution by genuine training concerning our children. From the grassroots together, all we can achieve this towards a better Nigeria. We want to appreciate Mr. Femi Femu for your input. Please keep more coming, and we promise we're going to read out all our comments as the program continues.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
So you see, when you read this, I hope the children this is what some of the children are missing today.
Yeah.
You know,
majority of
our children are missing this. This is part of the traditional parenting approach.
Yeah. You know, sir, that reminds me, sir. You know, most times when we are in a public, or sometimes even at home where other people are around, maybe visitors, there are certain, you are not even saying anything.
No.
You are not doing, they are discussing and you are just standing looking. There are ways my mom will shake her leg like this, with the way she will look at you. You already understand what she's talking about. most times she's already telling you that you have to excuse us.
Yes.
Sometimes maybe you are blocking somebody, only the sign she will, only the eye sign she will give you. You already know that you are supposed to leave that position you are standing. And sometimes, signs.
Somebody is about to offer you something,
and your parent will just look at you one way. You know that she's already telling you that no, this is a no. But this
now,
is.
Let me tell you, sir, why this symbolic communication were so effective there is because if a parent gives you a sign, you follow your parent to a public place and he gives you a sign, you neglect it. If you go home, you will pay for it. Next time, you pay more attention to every sign and signals given.
That's true.
You see, we should not neglect it. These are very, very effective way of parenting a child. Thank you, Mr. Femo, for sending in that wonderful.
Yeah, we're talking about the fact that what has been established concerning our parents, making all efforts to ensure that needs of their children are being catered for. I discovered that parents can go extra mile, which is not out of point. But what we're only saying is that, please, even as you are providing for the need of those child, please do not forget that there are needs that has to also do with moral upbringing. Let not neglect the moral upbringing of our child, because if you send a child to the best school and you provide your child with all the best thing he can ever think or imagine, and you have failed to raise him morally, I bet you all this that you have provided him with, he will by himself destroy them all. Sir, I know of a child that the parent the parent put him in boarding school from his childhood, in fact from primary school, and he remained in, he has always been in boarding school from primary to secondary to the university, and the parent will only check during visiting days, and that was all. We agreed to the fact that such a child has been completely disconnected from his parents, and that has his side effect. Sir, this same child I'm talking about, after he has grown up, of course he's already grown up. You now, the father, you now want to come and start exercising some form of authority, not knowing where this child has been to, not knowing the type of society he has belonged to. Now you want to exercise authority. Some of us know the story. He did not just even kill his father.
It's true.
He killed the father and slaughter and pieces and baggage it. I went and threw it away. This is how terrible it can be when we neglect the moral upbringing of our child. But mind you, sir, even we the parents, how much of those morals do we actually exhibit? Like our guests the other day mentioned that you cannot give what you don't have. Even our children must first see us exhibit those values. Then you don't need to do too much for them to be able to embrace. But when you lack some of those values, it's still the same you that will, when a visitor knocks, you will ask the same child to tell them you are not around. Tell him you are not around. So what are you? How are you? What are you teaching such a child? In fact, even if by the other time you now come and later on you are not telling that child that some certain thing is wrong, he would right in his mind, he will be listening to you, but he will be telling himself that that cannot be correct because what you are saying contradicts what you are doing or what you did in the past. So I think we need to deliberately and carefully take this caution or take this precaution,
Sir,
and ensure that our children are well.
I think the point you are raising now is very, very important in the sense that, you see, I have come to realize that children learn most by what they see
That's true.
than what they hear.
That's true.
And where we are today, and we are seeing that our children are deviating, we are talking about the modern civilization, or it's not actually really the fault of the children in the first place. You see, it will be very difficult if my child see me doing something that is good and
copy it.
And want to copy it. For instance, just like we discussed last week, most of our children are looking out into the society today. Those who are stealing the billions in our country, those who are doing all manner of evil now,
they have children at home.
They are adults, they are parents, and the children are watching.
They're watching.
The young ones are watching.
They're watching.
I told you somebody approached me and he said, "Sir," I said, "yes." He said, "Do you know that we are of the same age? Then do you know that in the next few years to come, we will be the elders in this nation that the younger ones will look up to?" That thing struck my mind. Now, what I'm trying to say is that, you see, whatever is happening in our society today, it is our fault. We, the parents, we are to chart in the right course for these younger ones to follow. But you know that we are confusing them. So I think the best way, when we are talking about effective parenting, it begins with us.
Yes.
Just like we said, change begins with me. Change begins with us, the parent. What the kind of change we want to effect on our children must begin with us. As a mother, as a father, we must be deliberate to make sure that we give these children the best examples to follow. Give them the best example to follow. You can't be telling lies in the presence of your children and expect them to tell the truth, not to tell lies.
They will not only tell lies, they will steal.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
That is the truth.
That's true.
Okay. I think our time is fast spent.
Okay. We have to quickly look at action number 3.
Good.
Now, it has also been established that the traditional and modern parenting approaches need to be reviewed to find a balance between the two, in such a way that we, the beneficiaries, to our family and society.
Good.
So what we are saying is simply that we don't have to completely throw away the foundation that our parents, our forefathers have laid. The good foundation that our forefathers have laid. If we identify some that are bad, we can do away with them. But the ones that are good, we need to bring them into this our civilized world.
Good.
We need to marry them with. Now, of course, it is encouraged that even as father, you don't exhibit total authority over your child any longer. You give them some level of freedom and some level of liberty to be able to decide and think for themselves, even though you are guiding them through. So, but we know in those days, if instruction is given and you don't follow it to the letter, you need not to be told what you get later. But that too should not be completely be taken away even now. Because I don't believe, but please you will agree with me that the reason why we have the amount of corruption and immorality in our governance today is as a result of lack of what do I call it now? Punishment for offenders.
That is the truth. That is the truth.
In fact, I don't know how to put this.
That is the truth.
But I want to say that if we have some previous governors, senators that have been imprisoned and maybe are still in prison up till now, some that are stealing money now will not want to steal.
You see, in every society, sir,
justice is not prevailing in Nigeria.
You see, the area of punishment that you have said, we have discovered that one pronounced element of the traditional parenting approach is punishment and reward. That in those days, when you do well, they reward you. When you do bad, they punish you for your offense. And do you know that today, I have read several documents. I have discovered that many institutions, many organizations, many society are trying to amend wherever they see punishment, they will remove it. Take it off. You see?
Take for instance in our schools. No more punishments most especially
because of wasting work
and even some public schools.
Yes. Now, let me tell you, punishment is an element of human society that cannot be taken away. You see, human beings are not robots. Human beings have a nature. By nature, human beings are selfish beings.
Yes.
Human beings are selfish beings. One, human beings by nature are pleasure-loving beings. You see, human beings can... Let me come... Where there is no punishment, human being can do anything. It is restriction. I was telling somebody, sir, we are in Africa and we are compelled, or we are being pressured to follow after the Western order by copying some of their things, the way they do things. For instance, you don't punish your child in the Western world. In most of the Western country now, your child will call police on you. Now, we have introduced some other elements also here that we should remove punishment. Do you know that the same Western world that we want to copy, their laws are very strict?
That's true.
You can escape certain crime here. You will go to our court here and you escape. But the same crime, if you commit it in their society, you can't escape. You will go to jail for it. Their law will tie you.
Traffic law.
Ordinary traffic law, you can't
Plant
escape.
it and you see.
So, is it not punishment for the
Yes,
offense
yes.
committed?
But those are the things we do without even looking back.
Because
Looking back.
our laws are not effective. Why? Because we are no longer seeing the importance of punishment. You see, what we call social sanction, you can't regulate human behavior without these two things, punishment and reward. Human being, the language that human being understood is punishment and reward. That's the primary language that every human being understood. Do you know that if, as a society, we agree that those who do certain things that we all of us agree that is wrong should be punished, sir, give us just 1 month, Nigeria will not be what it is today.
That's true.
But because we can do everything, anything, and still go free. So what we are trying to do is the elements of the traditional parenting approach, such as punishment and reward, must not be taken away. And say, no, you didn't know to punish your child again, just motivate them. It's not every child that understands the language of motivation.
That's true.
You have to understand that human beings are different. Even animals are. Yeah. Go and ask a Fulani man that is taking care of cows. He will tell you that not every cows are the same.
Yes.
There are some that are very stubborn that you're going to use your stick on them.
That's true.
So the same thing with human beings. So what we are trying to say is, please, we need to marry this. Just look at, for instance, we all have agreed in our last discussion that as a parent, you shouldn't be just too autocratic on your children. And like in those days that once a father comes in,
everybody will clear.
And you dare not stand before your father and request for something, or say something. No. We said those aspects. One of our guests in the last, she said something that I took note of that. She said before now, she discovered about, she was very hard because her parents were hard and they trained her in that order. And so she wanted to actually replicate that hard training. But you see, you need to balance it. You need to balance it. So she said, as she began to exhibit that, she discovered that her children used to run away from her. Anytime she's around, the children will not be comfortable. They prefer to stay around their father. So one day she asked, because as a mother, she knew that as a mother, these children are supposed to be more closer to her, no?
She's the one always around.
And because she's the one always around. But this time around, the reverse was the order. So the husband said, I have discovered you are too hard on the children. And she also find out from the children. They say, Mommy, you are too hard. So she began to, become deliberate by coming down to try to seek balance. And today, she is very close with the children. Now, that will bring us to one of the benefits or advantage of the modern parenting we are talking about. We say it encourages what? Communication and relationship between parents. Your children should not be running away from you. One of our guests said something. He said, if as a parent, your children cannot tell you certain things, and they will go and say it to others or even to their teacher.
Because your child cannot confide in you.
Good. If your child cannot confide in you, prefer to go and confide,
There's an error.
in a stranger, it means there is a problem, and you are the problem. You need to create a room, the atmosphere that will make your children comfortable to talk to you. To talk to you. You see, let them know that you are a father and also a friend. But that does not take away
a mother and also a friend.
A mother and also a friend. Good. But that does not take away the chastisement, the discipline, whenever they err. And we also said, give them freedom to express themselves and to take decisions. But that freedom should be within limit. Always provide a check. That is the best way.
All right, because of our time is fast spent. We want to take this opportunity to congratulate every well-meaning Nigerians once again, as we all know.
Yeah.
Today being 29th of May.
Yeah.
The swearing in is ongoing.
Yes.
Or maybe
it's
almost done now. But yeah, now we are in a new dispensation. We're in a new regime and a new era. And of course, there have been so many agitations here and there, but we are confident that God is with us. We are confident that Nigeria is moving towards a right channels. But all this we're talking about, we also build on whatever our government is able to put on board for us.
That is the truth.
So we have to get it right from home first. If we did not get it right from home, our parental rules, if we have not been able to get it right, no matter what our government is able to do, either they do or fail to do, we have its own negative impact on us, because we on our own, we have not been able to put things right. So that is why we are emphasizing that all that we can achieve and all that we'll be able to achieve as a nation has its roots from parenting. It has its roots from the home. So, and that is why it is important for us to be able to get it right from home. And our nation will be a better place. We want to appreciate as many that have been able to reach out to us by sending their comments and their opinion. And we also want to appreciate every one of us that have been following us. Please, we want to appeal to everyone, every Nigerians, as soon as you come across this page or this platform, please don't hesitate to follow us on our Facebook page, also to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, share, and ensure that these videos or every other episode of this program is able to reach every families. And like we have said, you are also allowed or permitted to call in even during this program. If you have a burning issue on your mind, either on the topic we're discussing or something you want us to, to also discuss on this platform, please don't hesitate to put a call through, and we will honor your call. And you can call in through these numbers: 070 3465 8458, 070 3465 8458. And you can as well send in WhatsApp message, and your message will be read out on this program. will be read out live on this program. You can send your WhatsApp message in through this WhatsApp number 080 36 49 9951. 080 36 49 9951. And we'll be very glad to have you join us next episode, next week on this same platform. And don't forget, this platform is proudly sponsored by Loyal Magnificent Competitor Club of Nigeria. And this program is as well brought to you right here from the Right Value Studio. Please always remember that the character and values that we all upheld as family or citizens determines the peace, progress, and development of our nation, Nigeria. Till we see you again next week, same time, 2 o'clock. My name remains Dandy Elebela and Mr. DJ Modi. Thank you for staying with us till this very end.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.